it is difficult to put those dimples in the corners. In fact, the very first, design of the quick change dumbbells we talked about at the beginning, had these, these dimples in the four corners. And, but, the tolerances on sand casting, like the Iron Truth plate there, really difficult to maintain. I mean, it's plus or minus, quarter millimeter at least, and so it's, when you try to take these pieces and you make them and you try to take a group of them and stack them together as a group, you're going to see a lot of gaps and a lot of parts that are kind of crooked on each other. They're not going to stack nice and flush and smooth together, and so, if you take like a kettlebell, just a regular kettlebell, it's casted. If it's a little bit fatter or a little bit, tiny bit crooked, just one piece, it's just a big chunk of iron, it doesn't really matter too much, But when you're taking pieces that are having to fit together, you got like 20 pieces that all have to sort of integrate and fit together and stack perfectly flush and fit well. Then this kind of process for manufacturing the plates is just like, it just isn't suitable to get a good quality, weight for your dumbbells. So the other ones, the newer ones, where they're using these little screw-in, but they're like a rivet or something that kind of screws in, and that fits in to a recess on the other side of the plate. And they're able to maintain a little bit better quality control they can do like a cut on the face of the plates, to kind of make them flat. And then they put in these little pins, but like all that kind of stuff is definitely something that can wear out and break off. I have a lot of concerns about that. That's really, really tiny threads in cast metal is just a bad idea. So, and so with our design, we've avoided doing any of that. It's the casting is like fully machined to make sure the tolerances and is very repeatable. Everything's going to fit together nicely. But it's also more than, there's more to it than that. We want to make sure that the thing is going to last a long time and not have like any service issues,
Yeah, definitely. And I didn't, I assumed that they were, I didn't know that they were tapped in. That's an interesting one.
I mean, those kind of things are less expensive than the Ironmaster dumbbells for what it looks like a similar amount of weight, you can operate with. And there is a reason that they are less expensive to manufacture than the way we manufacture ours, but I think that the value long term, is definitely there with the Ironmaster product. And so, we're not going to get tempted to say we're going to lower our price point by cutting any corners anyway, because that's just not something that I would ever feel. My integrity wouldn't let me do that, And I think long term for our business, we're going to be around a lot longer than any of these other competitors are, So the other thing is the quick lock dumbbell weight plates are actually a lot smaller,
Yes.
I've got one here I can show you. They're like, this is just like, it doesn't have missing material here or a needle missing up there. So it's more compact, for the same weight, the dimensions across this way and this way are smaller. And so when you're wielding around a heavy dumbbell or any dumbbell, and you want it to be as compact as possible. So you don't bump into yourself or bang into your bench and things like that. And so there's other designs out there like these that are on the screen, that, you can load up to a similar weight, but they're going to be dimensionally a lot bigger and bulkier. And that's not as good of an experience to train with either. So that's one of the main reasons that I decided a long time ago to get away from this particular concept,
Yeah,